We are going to talk a little bit about Josh Burnham. We're going to go over some film. I'm going to show you what I like about him. We're going to talk about him, talk a little bit of recruiting, answer some of your questions until we get to that moment. Then when he is set to announce, we will go live to that. Eric Rutter, our new recruiting analyst at irishbreakdown.com, just pulled up to that event. He is getting set up. He will live stream from there. And then, of course, he will interview Josh after that announcement. So let's first talk a little bit about Josh Burnham. So this has been an interesting recruitment. He was a guy that Notre Dame's always been involved in. They've been listed as one of his top schools for a while. They had a shot. Clark Lee started recruiting him. They offered him when Clark Lee was still here. And he was a guy that Notre Dame was always going to be, a top 3 or 4 program with. When Marcus Freeman showed up, things really kind of went to the next level with him. I think that there was a connection there with Marcus Freeman. I think Notre Dame has become a really just hot program on the recruiting trail under Marcus Freeman. There's a lot of excitement with people about what he could possibly do at Notre Dame, and he's got that personality that connects. I think the other thing that factored in too is obviously what's going on at Michigan. Since their season was over, they fired their defensive coordinator, Don Brown, and they've had almost a complete overhaul of the defensive staff. And I think that is where, should he pick Notre Dame, there's a lot of Michigan reporters saying that Michigan's going to be on him and they're going to try to flip him. And that's true. They're going to try to flip him. They're going to stay on him. So this is a young man that Notre Dame is going to have to stay involved with until the very end, just to make sure, you can't get him into class and then back down or back off, because Michigan is certainly not going to back off. But this is a very, very talented football player, and it makes sense why Notre Dame is going after him, even in a year that's absolutely loaded with linebackers. This is a great, great linebacker class nationally, and I think that's why it's so important for Notre Dame to really hit it in this class. They've got to be successful in linebacker recruiting this class, because they struck out in 2020. They only signed 2 linebackers last year. As far as I know, only one of them is going to be on campus when this thing gets going. So, and that would be Prince Kollie, because I'm still expecting, until things change, I'm expecting that Kahanu Kia is going to take a mission. So it's a big year at linebacker. Notre Dame already has Nolan Ziegler in the class. It's kind of interesting. Nolan Ziegler, who grew up a Notre Dame fan, that was a no-brainer. Josh Burnham grew up a Michigan fan. They both have a St. Patrick's Day birthday. As does Logan Diggs, the 2021 signee at running back. So let's dive a little bit into, as we kind of wait. Let me actually get a question here real quick before we get going. Dylan Hoffman asks, to me, it seems that Freeman does a nice job of being involved in all the recruits on D, regardless of position. Do you feel Tommy Rees needs to be more involved in the recruits on offense, or is he already? Yes, Marcus Freeman is incredibly involved with all the recruits on defense. I mean, we constantly hear his name mentioned. It's, here's my position coach, and then, oh, yeah, and by the way, Coach Freeman. I actually like what Tommy Rees is doing, with the exception of quarterback. I didn't like how Notre Dame handled that. I'm somewhat understanding of it, because it's not a great quarterback class, and he didn't get a chance to see a lot of those guys. But other than that, I think Tommy Rees has been very involved with the offensive staff. I don't think that the issues that Notre Dame is having on getting top players in the 2022 class on offense are because Tommy Rees isn't working. I think that there's some other issues, and we can get into that. We're going to have a live mailbag on Friday. Feel free to ask that one. But I would say Tommy Rees is another guy that we hear mentioned with a lot of the offensive players. So Frank Anthony says Notre Dame needs this guy. It's a big pickup. It's an important pickup. He's going to be a key ingredient to Notre Dame having a top linebacker class. So they're in great shape going into this announcement. But as you guys know, it's with anything, you got to finish. They got to finish with this one. Before I ask a few more questions, I'm going to let's look at some film of right now of Josh Burnham. So here's some highlights of him. The thing that you got to watch about him is, first of all, great size, great length, 6'4", 215, very athletic. And what you're going to see from this film is very good short area quickness, really good feet, very good closing ability. But what you're also going to see is a young linebacker that still is very much learning how to play the game. I mean, everything he's doing right now in these first 4 clips, let's go back and look at those again. He's number 8 on defense. A lot of what he's doing is just God-given ability and instincts. His technique is not great. He's a guy that plays quarterback on offense. We'll get to that. He's played some running back. He catches some passes. Everything he does is just because he's incredibly athletic and instinctive. And I think those are things that you look at and you say, the technique, you can teach that. What you can't teach is 6'4", 215 and a kid that can move like he moves at 6'4", 215. And as you can see from these highlights, this is a very naturally athletic player. Look at that short area burst right there. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Very nimble, light on his feet. Look at that. Look at that lateral. He plants on that right foot and just takes off, and then boom, he is downhill in a hurry. You really see the athleticism and quickness. Watch this speed, closing ability. He's got some punch. There's just a lot to like about Josh Burnham athletically. And again, as a coach, you look at this kid, look at this closing speed right here. There you go. What you look at as a coach is you say, look, I get paid a lot of money to teach technique, to teach assignment correctness, to teach here's how you line up. You're an inside hip of the guard or on this play, or you got to line up on an outside shade of our 3 technique on this play. You can teach all those things. What you want to have is you want to have the elite tools. And then we're going to see a little bit of him on offense now. So you have to really like what's going on here. Just going to check here as we're going through this, making sure that, let's see where Eric's at. Eric Rudder, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be at this announcement. So we're going to get that pulled up here soon as he's ready to go. He threw for, I think I saw 1,200 yards. He had about 900 passing yards. Here's a nice play. He's going to bounce this one outside. You're going to see some speed. Really good toughness. Look at that strength. And if you want to see some athleticism, go watch some of his basketball highlights. You're going to see a kid that there's a clip from his most recent game. Look at that toughness where he takes 2 steps and just goes up, rises up, and just 2-hand jams on somebody in a game. I'm not talking like out playing with his friends. I'm talking about for his high school basketball team. He had 16 points and 12 rebounds the other night. Just a really, really athletic player. Really like his athleticism. And I like guys that you guys all know this. You all know this. I love guys that play both ways. And obviously, as you're seeing here, he's a 2-way player. Really good player. He played mostly running back as a sophomore. This is a linebacker. This is a 6'4", 215-pound linebacker moving like that. So there's just a lot to like here. And I think you all are seeing just the athleticism that I'm talking about. Look at that change of direction right there. Look at that foot quickness. Watch that bounce. It may not. It's just kind of it's so fluid and natural that you really don't even notice when he's doing it. But watch this cut right here. He's going straight, and then just watch this outside bounce. Just watch this. This is right there, and just natural, and then he explodes. Look at him get to full speed. Look at that long stride. That's a really, really impressive athletic move right there. And on offense is when you really see the athleticism take off, because that's where right now he's more comfortable. Just athletically, just get that ball in his hands and go do something with it. There's really a lot to like there when it comes to his ability to be a playmaker on offense from a high school standpoint. Here's Thomas Walsh asks, is Burnham an example of Notre Dame going after more athletic linebackers? Yeah, I think Clark Lee went after athletic linebackers. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Notre Dame's been going after athletic linebackers for a while now. I think it's just about closing. I think Burnham is an example of Notre Dame being able to close on athletic linebackers. We're going to take it to the live stream here. So let's see if we got this rolling yet.
I'd like to continue my athletic and academic career at University of Notre Dame.
Yeah! There it is.
Woo! Yeah!
So Josh Burnham has committed to the University of Notre Dame. Notre Dame now has 11 commitments in the class. There he is rocking the hat. He's got his Notre Dame gear. Let's dive into this. Let's talk a little bit about Josh Burnham picking Notre Dame. This is obviously let me just tweet this out real quick. All right. So that is a big, big pickup for Notre Dame. The Irish score big with one of the nation's best linebackers, in my opinion. One of the most raw, but tremendous ceiling with Josh Burnham, as we've talked about. Very long, very athletic. He's kind of that guy that, minus the technical advancement, he's kind of what you want in a modern day linebacker. He can line up inside. He's got the size and thump to play in at the Mike or Will position. He is a guy that, in my view, has the kind of range you want to play in coverage at a place like Notre Dame. There's really just there's nothing physically that he can't do. And he's just everything you want in a modern linebacker. I think he can rush the quarterback. I think he's a guy that, in my opinion, can play. He can blitz inside. He can rush the quarterback on the outside. We've had some people bring up, like, what if he keeps growing? Could you put him on the outside and play him as a Viper? Potentially, if he keeps growing and keeps developing. Absolutely. He's got that kind of He's got that kind of athleticism, but this is a really, really athletic, mobile player, and this is the kind of guy you want at a place like Notre Dame. So this is a big pickup for the Irish. Big pickup for the Irish. And yeah, Tommy asks right here. So who is his? Is this a needle mover? In my opinion, yeah, this is a needle mover. This is a moving pickup. If you want some other thoughts, if you want to read my thoughts, I also have a class impact and a commit story on irishbreakdown.com, but we're going to talk about it here. So let's do that. But look, Tommy, what I consider a needle mover, a linebacker, is a guy that look, it's about athleticism, right? It's about playmaking. It's about impact skills. And to me, Josh Burnham has all the physical tools you want. He's got the size, he's got the range, he's got the athleticism, he's got all the traits. He just has to learn how to play the position a little bit, and I think that'll come. I mean, that's the easy part. If that's all a guy is missing, that's the easy part. That's the stuff that you can. That's what you get paid to teach. That's what you get paid to coach, right? What you can't coach is you can't coach 6'4". You can't coach incredibly long arms. You can't coach quickness and speed and athleticism and just that natural pop that he has when he strikes. And you can't teach that natural football instincts that he has. And that's what you look for. It's not about being a top 100 guy. Kenny Moore says, this is a clear top 100 talent, phenomenal pickup. I agree completely. But to me, it's not so much where a guy is ranked now. As you guys that have followed me long enough know, you guys and ladies who followed me long enough know, I don't really care so much about where a guy is ranked. I care about what kind of upside he has. That's why when Notre Dame landed Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, we thought it was such a big deal, because you just saw the upside in the talent there, and he's turned out to be that. And then we said the same thing when Notre Dame signed Isaiah Foskey. And Josh Burnham is to me kind of from that Isaiah Foskey school of recruit, in that he's not a guy that's going to, in my opinion, step on the field day one and be a Manti Te'o type difference maker. He's a guy that's going to need more time. He's going to need a year or two to get in the weight room, to learn the technique, to have the overall skill set that you need to be an impact player, but the tools are there. And to me, that's the important thing. Does he have the tools or not? And I think he's got all the tools to be a difference maker. There's no question about it.